Community.
Hey everybody, Adam Grace here from Conjuror Community, and welcome to Afternoon Astonishments. Today we're going to look at the tricks of Tenyo and some of the new stuff that Tenyo has been putting out lately. I believe their whole 2025 line of tricks is amazing. So,
How many new Tenyos are there this year?
Five new items that they put out, and it's usually they put out four, but 2025 they put in an extra one for us. And every year it's around this time that they release the new stuff in America because, as you know, the Tenyo items are released in Japan, and in Japan these are looked upon as the entire public as something interesting. Magic is an interesting thing to everyone, and that's the reason they can make so many of these things. Enough so that they make it to America is that it's just sort of a widespread phenomenon in Japan. People love playing with the Tenyo magic, and us magicians here in America, we do as well. I know that I'm a fan, and these are a great showing. The stuff that they put out this year, it's really fun. I think the best thing we can do is watch them and discuss, because I think they're pretty amazing tricks. Like most of all the Tenyo stuff that you've ever seen. It's really amazing.
Can we start with Unbroken?
Sounds like a good movie I used to watch.
I think it is, actually.
Really amazing is the variety of effects that they continue to come up with. It really blows my mind, and this one is no exception. I didn't see that coming. So good. What did you like about that one, Adam? That was one that you liked particularly out of this new batch. What was your
year after year, Tenyo will put out every now and then, right? You'll find something that's completely new, like a new effect, something that's never really been done before. And Tenyo will do a lot of repeat stuff. Like they'll do things like penetrations or something disappearing and appearing in another place. Just things that we
variations on classic, plastic magic stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But
It's
that I've never seen anything like that. Have you?
not really. Certainly not in a commercial way. I mean, if I've ever seen anything like that, it was on stage, and it was kind of a one of a kind thing. It wasn't an injection molded plastic that you could learn how to do from a piece of paper the size of this. You know what I mean? So it's pretty astonishing, and a marvel to look at. It sure did look good, Alex.
It did look good. The closest I've seen to something like this is something that's like a handheld thing. And again, it has to be a parlor situation where you can like put something through the glass, but it seems so suspicious. And with this thing being, like you're saying, that little tiny frame, it's in your hands, you're doing it right next to people. It just seems a little bit more convincing and a little bit more magical. And not all those, those shows with the hand going over it, that was really, I kind of want to play with this. It looks great. And that's generally the sign of a good Tenyo trick when you're like, I think I want to get one of those. And we should mention that all of these, they're like right around $20. Like, how do they do that for a $20 retail price tag? You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy.
Just be clear, if CC Club members, use the link inside your dashboard to join our partners, and you can get good discounts on these things. But I have to say, when he hit that nut on the glass, I cringed. I found that to be a very believable thing, I was like, oh, like, if that doesn't break it, what would?
Right.
Now, I have theories, and I guess you really don't get a prize for having theories when you've been doing magic 40 years. Let's watch
No,
the next trick.
True.
not on Afternoon Astonishment, no.
Yeah. Let's, we can play that game later. Why don't we watch another one?
Are we going to do Anna Curry?
Yeah, that's the one.
No, that's a good one.
You don't know how to
That
pronounce
one
it.
is actually, I think, one of the most popular ones of this current batch. So yeah, that'll be a good one to watch. Check it out.
Let's play it, and then we'll talk about how to pronounce it. You know, I remember being in Japan. You ever heard the term kawaii? Cute. It's a serious aesthetic situation in Japan. If something is cute, it's a prized attribute, and Tenyo stuff is cute. I mean, it's one of its most fundamental things traditionally, the little props, beautiful little illusions shrunk down to size, the sword through the casket. It's all very, very cute stuff. Was that the first time you saw that trick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So what did you think?
Yeah, I didn't like it that much. I didn't really understand what was going on, to be honest. I watched really close, but I didn't really understand what the effect was, I think.
It was an origami card revelation, right? Alex, what do you
Origami card revelation. I'm not as fond of this one as some of the other ones in this current release, but like I said, this one is really popular. This one keeps going out of stock, so a lot of people do like this one, which is interesting.
How much does that one retail for?
This one's $20. The last one was $23, and they're all right around that price range, which is interesting and cool about the Tenyo magic, right?
It's a good toy. It's a good toy price. You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah.
And I can imagine, it's paper. It's safe. You can fold it. You can unfold it. If you're a kid, you can break it. Do you guys think that the first one's kind of a blow off, right? Because it's the Eight of Hearts and the Queen of Hearts. Is that right? Did I get that right? Eight of Hearts, Queen of Hearts. And so you actually have this piece of paper that's got 8 heart holes on it and 8 colored and white panels, right? So I think it's probably maybe 24 panels total. And then after, I think the first revelation's designed to look a lot like the paper doesn't change, a lot like you're getting the red panels behind the holes and showing the hearts. And so it's meant to be like a mild, fun origami revelation that puts you to sleep in time not to suspect that there's going to be a full transformation of the paper coming. Hidden panels and things. It certainly looks like a piece of paper we'd have a lot of fun folding, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
Now,
it's got that impossible object aspect to it as well, where it becomes that other thing that couldn't be. And I think that's where the real kicker is, and probably the reason that it's getting a lot of attention is because of that impossible transformation of the
all
organ.
right.
Can it be examined? Do you know, like the audience gets to touch it or anything, or is it?
I don't see how that's
Yeah, I
possible.
would guess not.
It's paper, so
Yeah, it's paper. It's probably laminated paper, so it's probably resilient. You could probably use it for a while without it being destroyed, but I would guess it's not examinable.
or you could let a person examine your gaffed hat tear. How would that go?
Not so well.
That little magic joke. So we
Your
can't.
egg bag.
How do you spell that trick? How do you spell the title of that trick?
ANAKARAKURI.
All right.
It means a hidden puzzle, basically, is what it means.
That is nothing if not descriptive.
Let's do the Wonder Ring next. Let's check that one out because that's got some pretty good visual aspects to it. And it seems like this could be adapted to a bunch of different kinds of things too.
Jewelry. Love it. Well, that's a winner.
Got a few things going for it. It seems like you could use that in real close-up magic, and it doesn't look like it's a suspicious prop. Sometimes with these Tenyo things, they look like they're a toy or they look like they're something that's made for doing this weird, tricky stuff. And that thing just looks like it's a little box. I thought that was pretty cool, a cool aspect of it. And the notion that you could have a folded object show up in there, like a bill or a card, or it just opens itself to other possibilities. It seems interesting to me, if nothing else. I wish I had more information.
Let me ask you. Well, the fact that you can change it to a bill or a card at the end really means that you can use it as the ending of a bigger trick, essentially, of a more impossible type trick. That I think that was marvelous. What did you guys think of that? I just thought that was so much fun.
I thought it was cool.
Is this a re-release by any chance?
I've never seen this one before. This seems like it's a new thing.
Well,
although we have seen some people put out some gaffed ring boxes in probably the past few years that we've definitely reviewed in our show. And there are some tricky aspects of these ring boxes that I think probably carried over into this Tenyo box. So we've seen similar things to this, just not from Tenyo.
Well, that's my question is, they have 5 or 7 new items a year. Do they release do they release the classics? Do they have a whole toy line? Is this a small part of a bigger company, or is this a big
I get the impression that some of the good sellers, they reproduce, that they'll do reruns of them because a lot of the stuff, it's dye injection molded toys, basically, right? It's like they're making these things in a toy factory. So they have to have a certain guarantee to know that they're going to turn that stock over. So when these things get really popular, they stick around for a while. For example, if you remember, there was Dick Cornwinder had that little car that Tamarice did on TV, the La
Standard
Cochecita,
card.
little
Mhm.
the card that finds the card, right? That little car ended up being made as a Tenyo item because if you remember, Dick Kornwinder had that one that was a really high-end item, and it was like a jeweler built this little thing. It was a beautiful little car, but pricey, and they were made in a very limited number. Tenyo made it, and they made it and with some new aspects to it that actually make it a little bit cooler than the original one. And again, it's been around long enough that they keep reproducing it, and I think it's been a hit in the Magic world. And currently, you can get it. So some of them stick around. And I don't know what the rhyme or reason or the TikTok is on any of that, but some of them, the older ones, they do keep on producing. So
Well,
it's
I
interesting.
remember, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but years ago, I think I might have bought a What's Next from Tenyo,
Yeah.
Silk the Egg from Tenyo. So, like, I
Yeah.
found that they made some really beautiful standard props, and the versions of those standard props they made were superior.
And
And
some of their stuff,
sorry, go ahead,
no, I
Adam.
was going to say some of their stuff becomes standard props too. It's like in a way because one of their tricks that the cats that one they've been doing that one forever. I think that's like become a classic of theirs.
And the two that Aaron just mentioned, they are the standard props for those. And I think that they produced those originally like in the late 70s, maybe early 80s, and they've stuck around since then because they are just the benchmark. That's the one that you want to use if you're going to do those tricks.
Which one did you say?
Props. The What's Next and the Silk to Egg, those are both superior props
Yes.
that Tenyo has made.
What's Next is that's the newspaper one, right?
Oh, I
What's
thought that
Next
was
is the domino where you have
The
the
domino.
dots on the domino.
And what
Yeah.
was the one with the newspaper?
That's in the news. I think
In
that
the
one's still produced as well. Yeah, and it's like
Tenyo
you're
as well,
pouring
right?
liquid into the newspaper, and then you can show that it vanishes, and then you can dump the liquid back out of the newspaper. It's a really ingenious, beautiful little gimmick. It's really
And all
cool.
Tenyo, all Tenyo.
Those are Tenyos, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let's watch another one, man. I have to say that trick was good. It's wonderful. Makes you kind of want to buy it, turn it upside down.
I want to play.
Take it.
that's
Take it.
that's usually the thing that gets you on those Tenyo tricks, though. You look at it and you go, I think I want to play with that thing.
Mhm. Absolutely. Other than call up this next one, other than the ones we were just talking about, those are sort of more traditional props, and they certainly make you want to play with them. But
Yeah.
they actually give you material for your stand-up show, whatever. Mhm. Well said.
なんで心をやられてしまった。
This is one that's I think really hard to do a video on.
Yeah, I think the language is probably a pretty big barrier on this one. We're not getting some of the nuance that's here. But from what I can tell, do you remember that book from the 90s on Harry Anderson's magic?
Sure, the mishmash card.
The mismatch card. I think that that's what's going on here. It's that, and then there's some language things that are leading them to particular places or collapsing possibilities so that you know what they're thinking of by going through the procedure. But again, what Adam said is probably the truth. Because you can't understand what they're saying, we're missing some of the nuance to the trick here. But it still looks like it's interesting.
It may be even stronger with 2 or 3 people.
I would guess that it is stronger with more people. Yeah, you're probably right, Aaron.
I've
You know
enjoyed.
that trick, Alex? You know that trick where there's like a bunch of cards with numbers on them, and that somebody looks at one number on one card, and then they tell you which cards have that number on it. You know
Oh
that.
yeah, I do remember this. Yeah, that's like in the
You
old
think it's
magic.
kind of like that? Maybe is it based on that? Maybe.
No, I think it's about it's a limited. When you look at those panels, you can see that it's a limited number of cards that are on those panels. And I think that by directing them to think of one, and maybe she thought of a red one, why don't you think of a black one, or things like that, where
I
you're
see.
collapsing
I got you.
possibilities, you can know what they're thinking. It's what it
Gotcha.
seems like. But again, we only have so much information based on this video, so that's purely a guess.
That is right. That is certainly involved, but we don't have any idea what other little bonuses or secret surprises are inside it. I do know that many years ago, Tenyo released a version of the old, almost like the color cube,
Mhm. Like
yeah,
the psychic cube. Yeah.
cube, and I just thought that was the most fascinating and deceptive thing I'd ever seen. I mean, that was the first Tenyo trick I ever saw, so I understand why. So we've got
Man,
one more.
yeah, we got one more, and this one actually, this is the one. If I was going to buy one right away, I think this is the one I would go for first
This
because
is
it's
a
got all
re-release,
the.
right?
Say it one more time.
This is a re-release, I believe, isn't it?
No, this is new. I haven't seen this, but there are things that are like this. And this is what was going back to what we were talking about earlier, that sometimes ideas of effects get recycled in the Tenyo world. But I think that this one is new and unique. And it's, again, it's got it checks all the boxes. It feels like it's a fun toy as much as it's a fun magic trick. So I want to check this one out. It looks really cool.
You know why.
It's 2 o'clock.
Yeah. All right.
Doesn't that remind you of seeing Edit the Sphere?
Yeah, right.
So I
It's a
think
strong trick, dude.
this is a perfect example of what Alex was talking about. I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of Tenyo tricks that sound like that. Yes, Alex.
I looked it up. I went to Tenyo's site, and Adam's correct, this was released in 94. So this one looks like it's one of those ones that's popular enough that they decided to do a rerun on it. So, yeah, this is obviously one of their,
30-year anniversary.
yeah.
I held this one in my hand too. The way this works is incredible.
Right.
So it's satisfying, like all the good Tenyo tricks.
That
Oh,
coin
yeah.
just snaps down through the universe and
The
flipper.
most satisfying of all. This is one of those that's like when
You can hear it
buy
working.
you say,
You won't be
"Wow, I
sad when
really-"
you buy this one. You'll be
No,
satisfied.
you won't
with
be. You'll be
that.
super happy. Because the way it worked, like you watched it. I mean, there was nothing to it. He draped a cloth over it. He went like this, boop, and then
Chink,
we were like, what could have even happened?
You
It's
could
amazing.
literally hear it shaking around in a plastic box the moment he made it go away.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
How do
Pretty
you
cool.
think Tenyo decides which of these effects deserve the biblical Egyptian motif?
It's a good question. I don't know. I know that there are definitely people within Tenyo that they work on just presentations, and they have to make sure that these presentations can carry over and work in other languages as well. So I know there's a lot of attention that's paid to that aspect of the Tenyo releases.
I
So
know
the
that
story. I was going to say the story around that one is about because we couldn't really see it in the video, but the story is about this coin that's found in King Tut's tomb.
Mhm.
And that coin has the spirit of King Tut, and he wants to return to his pyramid. Or
Well,
that
we know
basically-
the pharaohs built these pyramids with quite a lot of intention to be their home in the afterlife. So this quarter has the spirit of King Tut. I think it really, really fits. That motif really just suits the effect. It's good.
Yeah, that one's a winner.
It's a miracle.
I like it.
So do you guys buy all of these every year?
I don't buy them all every year. Every couple years, there's one that comes along that I'm like, ooh, I want to get that. I want to play it. Like I bought the Cornwinder car, and I bought a couple of them because when I bought it, I was doing restaurant magic, and one of them I took the guts out of so that I could just hand it to a child and let them play with it. And it's just a little car. And then when I'm ready, I would take the car, switch the car out, and then I could go do the card effect with it. And it just looked like it was the same car.
That's pretty smart.
That's beautiful. And Adam, which one have you bought and enjoyed the most?
Well, out of that group right there, like I probably would buy that last one because I think the whole deal is you couldn't get that for years. I think a lot of people really wanted it, so thus it was due a re-release. There's a built-in audience of people that were ready for that one to be re-released. So I would buy that last one, especially at the price. I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about
$20
$21.
Yeah.
$21 for the Crystal Pyramid, and there's plenty of them around now, so get one.
I mean, listen,
to
just the research and development that had to go into the Crystal Pyramid alone is worth $21. Let me tell you.
Crazy.
Probably out of those though, I'd probably get that one. I'd like to get Unbroken too. I think I really like that.
Unbroken is cool. You're right. That is a good one.
I would buy Unbroken if I was going to buy one of those.
Well, Tenyo does it again. I mean, every year they come forth with great new ideas, new tricks, new crazy good stuff. Wonder Ring, Unbroken, Six-Sided Psychic, Crystal Pyramid, and a Kurikuri, all excellent releases from Tenyo. Check us out next time, Conjure Community, Afternoon Astonishment. Conjure Community.